What's up, everybody? I am Brandon, and we got a buttload of Ubisoft news to talk about today. We got this super cringy interview from Ubisoft about their Quartz platform over on Finder.com. Basically, Ubisoft sat down with Finder to kind of go over their whole NFT platform Quartz, and let's just say it's pretty tone deaf. We got all that and more. Another episode of Game Corner. Thanks for watching, everybody. Remember, if you like what I do, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and I'll stop wasting your time. So like I said, a couple of devs over at Ubisoft Quartz were talking to the website Finder. They specialize in NFTs and cryptocurrency, stuff like that. They were talking to them all about their new NFT platform, Quartz. This was announced a couple of weeks ago to some serious backlash. Pretty much Ubisoft is opening up this whole platform to sell in-game NFTs to players. Basically, you go in there, you buy an item that gets a unique ID attached to it, and that is owned by you, so you are the sole owner of that item. And then you can do whatever you please with that, whether it be, you show it off to your friends or sell it to other losers who want to buy NFTs. I have quite a few other videos on this channel about NFTs, so if you want me to dig any deeper about what an NFT is or how it operates, you should go and check those videos out right here. As for this interview, I'm just going to go line by line. We'll kind of go over what they're talking about and what it kind of means to the gaming industry on a bigger level. Kind of have a fun goof, a little gaff on the way. So Ubisoft is actually calling these unique items digits, and you buy these digits on the Quartz platform. And the Quartz platform is just supposed to be kind of like a big digital marketplace where you can buy, sell, and trade all these items. Keep in mind that this is absolutely nothing new. People have been doing this with like World of Warcraft accounts since literally 20 years ago. And furthermore, games like CSGO have actual marketplaces set up for stuff like this right now. Keep in mind that this isn't really a new thing. It's just the mechanics behind how it works are sort of new. So take everything that's been being said about NFTs with a huge grain of salt, because a lot of people quite literally just don't understand how NFTs work or even really what they are, and a lot of people just confuse them with being digital art or digital goods, which isn't 100% the case. In the most simple way I can possibly put it, an NFT is only a unique ID that has been written to the blockchains so that it can be recorded and tracked as a purchase. That's why it's called a non-fungible token, because each digital good gets a token or an ID attached to it that pretty much says it is one of a kind. So an NFT could be anything. Quite literally, it can be anything. And just recently, people have attached these NFTs to their digital art, their digital goods, and that's what's kind of been becoming popular over on the internet. And since then, you've been seeing a lot of big corporations, big companies like Ubisoft getting into this space because they see a way to make money here. Not only is it a really popular buzzword that's gotten a lot of steam recently because artists are selling their NFTs for a fuckload of money on the internet, which is also a total misunderstanding. There's been like a handful of people who've made money off of this, by the way. And it's really just this concept that's being taken and ran with by these corporations who knows that they can trick a consumer into buying this garbage because it's the hot thing on the internet right now. Now that we've kind of established a base for what an NFT is and how it operates, we can kind of go into this interview understanding more about what this is and why they're wanting to get into this space. So like I mentioned earlier, a couple Ubisoft devs came onto Finder to kind of do an interview and talk about the platform Ubisoft Quartz and kind of clear the air, because when it was announced a couple weeks ago, it came out to some serious backlash, and I think Finder was probably like one of the only websites that would allow them to come on and actually interview with them, because everybody else literally hates this shit. And Finder seems to be a website that's kind of focused around cryptocurrency and NFTs and that sort of stuff. So obviously their audience is going to be a little bit more accepting of this sort of thing than like an IGN audience would be. So kicking the interview off, our first question is, gamer feedback to the Ubisoft Quartz and Digits launch has been generally negative. What has the feedback told you about the prospects of mainstream NFT success? Well, it was a reaction we were expecting. We know it's not an easy concept to grasp, but Quartz is really just a first step that should lead to something bigger, something that will be more easily understood by our players. That's the way we think about it and why we will keep experimenting. We will keep releasing features and services around the first initiative. And our belief is that piece by piece, the puzzle will be revealed and understood by our players. We hope they will better understand the value we offer them. So coming right out of the gate here, pretty much Nicholas is saying that we don't understand what they're trying to provide us here, what they're trying to offer us here, and that in time, we will grow to understand what Ubisoft is trying to sell us here. It's not that complicated, Nick. You're selling us an in-game good. You're selling us stuff in our game that has an ID attached to it that's different than other people's. That's it. There's no bigger puzzle. There's no pieces that we need to fit into it. You're selling us stuff. It's just not complicated, man. I want to start off by saying I do kind of feel bad for these two devs. They obviously came on here to talk about the blockchain and how excited they are to be like engineering all this stuff. And I feel like there's a Ubisoft marketing hand, like, you know, stuck up right in their butt, telling them kind of what to say and do. And I do feel bad because they clearly are really excited about this technology, and how it's being implemented here is just maybe not the most truthful or best way to utilize that technology. You spoke in your presentation about improving the relationship with players. If that is your goal with Quartz, it must be quite frustrating to see the feedback you've received. It's part of the process, I would say. It's a reaction we are accustomed to. I think it's great because it shows how engaged our players are and how passionate they are about their hobby and gaming in general. And looking at that, I think it's reassuring somehow. It shows that our players love what we do and love Ubisoft's ability to offer good games. So that's cool. Oh my god, I just can't even with this. I love how they know that people are really mad at Ubisoft right now, and they're just taking it as like, we know you guys are upset, and we really appreciate that you're upset. We really, from the bottom of our heart, we appreciate that you're angry and you're upset, and we hear you. But we're not going to change anything. Still, obviously we are a bit frustrated, yes, but I think overall it's okay, and it's something we can really understand. We so strongly believe that what we are doing, with Quartz and Digits, goes in the right direction, so we will keep integrating. Obviously listening to what our fans are telling us and how they're telling us as we go, so we can adapt to what we're doing and where we're going. So that's the next move, to make sure what we're doing will make even more sense to gamers. And this is the part that really screams tone deaf to me. They clearly hear people talking about how much they don't like this. They know that we're frustrated and they're frustrated with our frustration, but they assure us that they are making the right decision here and that they're doing something that we will like. You will like it, we promise. We just need more time to help you understand that you're gonna like it, I promise. Well, let's talk about making sense of it. What do you think is the big positive that gamers are missing about what NFTs like Digits can offer them? I think gamers don't get what... Oh my god, I love you. You know you're getting into something good when you start off with, I don't think gamers get. I think gamers don't get what a digital secondary market can bring to them. For now, because of the current situation and context of NFTs, gamers really believe it's first destroying the planet and second just a tool for speculation. But what we, at Ubisoft, are seeing first is the end game. The end game is about giving players the opportunity to resell their items once they're finished with them, or they're finished playing the game itself. They're looking at the end game, guys, here. They're looking at the end game. The true end game, not the actual world ending and us all flooding in a giant tsunami caused by the icebergs melting. With the true end game, which is all of us lining up to buy digital goods from Ubisoft.
Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing.
It's pretty embarrassing. So it's really for them. It's really beneficial, but they don't get it for now. Why? Why are you trying to convince me that this is something I want? I don't understand. Also, this is part of a paradigm shift in gaming. Moving from one economic system to another is not easy to handle. There are a lot of habits you need to go against and a lot of your ingrained mindset you have to shift. It takes time. We know that. They act like there's some revolutionaries out here making some brand new market that none of us even understand or have heard of before, and we're gonna thank them in the long run when this is the future, you know? This whole paragraph reeks of having a stick shoved so far up your own asshole you don't realize that no one wants your fucking garbage. Furthermore, it is destroying the planet. That's the end game, is making sure that we all could actually play video games in 20 years. You fucking idiot. You're literally just sitting here trying to convince us that you making tons of money off of NFTs is more important than the planet we exist on. You idiots. What are you talking about? They quite literally can't see past their own creation. It's kind of disgusting. It's kind of gross, I'm not gonna lie. Do you think you would have been better off launching Quartz without mentioning NFTs or blockchain? If you had just launched a new platform that offered gamers something new without exposing them to the underlying mechanics powering it? Now the interviewer is literally just asking if it would have been better if they lied. Actually, we tried in a way. That's why we named them digits. We considered not speaking about the technology, but we know our players. They would have known digits were NFTs, so we decided it would not be very smart to try to hide it. Yeah, no shit. Our principle is to build a safe place and safe environment with Quartz, so we need to be transparent on what we're doing. We knew that if we didn't reference the technology, players would have noticed, and one of the first concerns gamers have when it comes to blockchain is the impact on the environment and the energy it consumes. As such, it was key for us to be able to show we were aware of that concern, and we're making an active choice of going with Tezos. So I looked into Tezos a little bit. It's a cryptocurrency. It seems like it's kind of up and coming, not super big yet, but everybody's got a cryptocurrency nowadays, so who fucking knows? And basically their whole platform is that they use like 70% less energy consumption with their blockchain, with their cryptocurrency. That communication is in line with our engagement as a corporation. Our research has a very strong engagement when it comes to the environment and those concerns. It's transparent for us to be able to preempt that discussion and make our players know we've taken the right step to protect the environment. Once again, even from Ubisoft here, we're getting little to no information about how they're going about doing that, like what they're doing to make a change there. Nothing. And that's because there's nothing you can do to change it. You're mining cryptocurrency, you're forming the blockchain, you're using the same GPUs, the same hardware that everybody else is using. And furthermore, they're just straight up admitting to saying like, yo, we thought about lying to you guys. We were thinking about it pretty hard because we know nobody wants or likes this. But we decided against it because we know people would know that we were lying to them. So I guess good on you guys for not lying to us. It's not just the environment I fear. A lot of the feedback I read suggests that gamers view or fear NFTs are being used as the new microtransaction or loot boxes. That digits are going to make gaming with Ubisoft more expensive. Are they right or wrong? Oh, buckle in for this one. This is a great one right here. I'm just preparing you all. Get ready now. This is a really, really hot one right here. Well, first, players are always right. Because they are our players, and we love them. And so, they're always right. But your observation is correct. The first point I would say is that digits are fully optional. It's something we've built outside the game's economy, so you can use Quartz or you can choose not to use it. It really is a matter of personal choice. So first things first, Ubisoft loves us, guys. Ubisoft loves us, they care about us, they're here for us. This is all really for us, not for Ubisoft. And then he goes on to openly admit that yes, it is going to make gaming more expensive on Ubisoft, but they're fully optional. So you don't have to buy digits. You don't have to spend more money. You don't have to give us more money, guys. They're fully optional. But we love you. We're doing this for you guys. This isn't for us. At no point will we force our players to use Quartz and digits. We just inform them that there is a new system that could provide them with higher value than existing ones. So this is a microtransaction, this is a loot box. You're informing me that I can spend money on the video game that I'm playing. And then there's a way we built the platform regarding eligibility criteria. We've made it so it's somewhat hard for people to get into it. You must purchase the game, you must play at least 2 hours. So it's a bit complicated. For pure spectators to go there and invest and inflate the markets. Okay, so back up. So it's a complicated process involving spending $60 on the video game and then spending 2 hours of your day playing the video game. And then you can go buy, sell, trade NFTs to all to your heart's content. And we're doing this so that speculators don't get in here. We don't want anything to do with them, and this 2 hours that's gonna gatekeep. That's gonna keep them out. So it's a bit complicated for pure speculators to go there and invest and inflate the markets. It's not that complicated either, and then just immediately turns around. Is it complicated or is it not complicated? But there are so many other options out there for speculators to get into and mess around. We think, and the first figures we have corroborate our expectation, that Quartz is primarily for our players. It's what we're seeing when we look at data. Remember, this is still an experiment. We will adapt the volumes of our upcoming editions so that there's not too much inflation. our main concern to make sure that even on a secondary market, prices do not go too high, so that it's still accessible to regular players. So I guess they're doing something to curb people from just coming in and completely taking advantage of this market they're creating here. But once again, this is nothing new. We've been seeing this happen in games like World of Warcraft and Diablo for years now. In fact, Blizzard literally took out the whole system for this in Diablo because it became a fucking nightmare. The fact is, there are people out there who can play way more than you and have way more money to spend than you do, and they are going to go in there and take advantage of this market if they can. It's just gonna happen, even if they have to pay for the game or play for 2 hours. One of the big beliefs tied to blockchain is decentralization, about taking power away from big corporates and putting it in the hands of the consumers. Looking from the outside in, I question instantly the value of decentralization for a company like Ubisoft. How is decentralization good for Ubisoft? So the question is really about player engagement and how you share an ecosystem with them. When you look at the valuation of just Ubisoft the company, it's over $3 billion, I think. Something like that. But the whole ecosystem of Ubisoft products is valued at more than $15 billion. So the ecosystem is much bigger than just a company. The ecosystem is composed of the company, but also the players and the whole range of roles that the players can have in this ecosystem. The ecosystem is composed by the company, but also the players and the whole range of roles that players can have in this ecosystem. As such, the interest in decentralization for a centralized company like Ubisoft is to open the gates of our games and to make them bigger by sharing a stake with our players. To build new experiences that are on top of what is in each game to date, it's a new way to see what a game could be. I don't want to go into numbers, but owning a percentage of a huge ecosystem might even be more interesting than just owning a game today. I'm sorry, as I know it's difficult to understand right now, as this kind of idea doesn't really exist yet in gaming. But we see the ecosystem for a game can be much, much bigger than what a game is today in terms of value creation for everyone. So basically what he's talking about here is kind of giving people a market, giving them an ecosystem to buy and trade into, and kind of them using this to gain value from their game outside of just entertainment or fun. At some point, the idea is you pay to earn. You play these games to make money as like a job almost. Basically, they want to turn your video game into something where you provide value for yourself and for the company in the form of monetary gain and not through fun or entertainment, which is, you know, why we play games in the first place. It's frustrating to me that we're focusing more on the value that these games bring to our wallets and less on the value that these games bring to our lives. I really have no care to own any stake in Ubisoft at all. I don't even want to play their games in the first place, so I don't know why I'd want anything to do with their company. And I mean, there's only a really small percentage of people out there who are going to be interested in this, right? People who are actually interested in like the stock market are going to be interested in pay to earn games, not people who actually play video games. So this isn't for your players, once again. This is for Ubisoft to make their own ecosystem, make their own market, and make money off of that market. The most cynical feedback I've read from gamers has pointed to this all being a ploy to line Ubisoft's pockets with more money, but you see it being about creating a deeper player engagement experience. Yes, the model of play to earn is about allowing players to make their own money by adding value to the whole ecosystem. So it's not just about Ubisoft actually. So once again, are video games jobs or are they entertainment? Because I work a normal job so that I can come home and play video games. I don't work a normal job so I can come home and work for Ubisoft more. I genuinely don't know anyone who plays video games to earn anything other than just their own engagement, their own entertainment. And frankly, do you even call it a video game if you're playing to make money off it? I think that's, once again, just called a job. The only value that this brings is to Ubisoft's ecosystem, to nobody else's. Nobody is going to be making that much money off of this. Nobody is going to be making an investment off of this except for Ubisoft. You could even argue that an artist selling their art as an NFT is more beneficial than this because at least they're gaining something off of it instead of just fucking Ubisoft. Considering that Ubisoft is trying to lead in this emerging space, when you see what happened with the Stalker 2 team, where they announced an NFT integration then ditched it after Backlash, how does it make you feel? What was your reaction? It's saddening to see there's still some resistance based on misunderstanding, but I'm not sure we can really compare what Stalker 2 was trying to do with what we're trying to achieve with Quartz. It's not the same use case to players, I would say. First of all, it's not hard to understand. We understand what you're doing. It's microtransactions with unique IDs attached to them that you record to a blockchain. not difficult. Second of all, this is exactly what Stalker 2 is trying to do. This is exactly what they were trying to do, and they got huge backlash from it. And because they respect their players, they decided to, pull back and away from it. Unlike you guys, who are going even further into it and telling us that we like. Do you guys see a future where players own the games themselves? That games are an NFT? That's part of the use case we can explore, but it's not the focus today. Nobody wants this. Nobody, what's even the point? Do people even make video games anymore? We just own whatever we want? You could just own this game even though you didn't provide anything to it or do any, what does anything mean anymore? And do you see a future where the majority of Ubisoft games, if not all of the games, are tied into quartz and digits in some way? And do you see a future where the majority of Ubisoft games, if not all of the games, are tied into quartz and digits in some way? Actually, we are a very decentralized company already. We let each project's team decide if they want to have digits or not, or use the Quartz platform itself. So it's open. Once again, I do think it's good that they're at least allowing the developers to decide if they want digits or quartz in their games. Obviously, this is not gonna last. I think that eventually you're gonna see every single Ubisoft game use these quartz and digits. So if nothing else, I guess it is good that they're at least giving the developers of these games the option to use quartz and use these digits in their games. That being said, it's a matter of time until we see all Ubisoft games use this. Let's be real. Ubisoft is the master of microtransactions and shitty loot boxes and gacha mechanics, and I mean, this is clearly just another way for them to take advantage of that. I do honestly feel kind of bad for these two developers that are kind of doing this interview, because they do seem honestly really interested in the blockchain and the technology behind all of this. And I do think you kind of see that throughout the interview here, but you can tell that they clearly have these points they need to hit and these things they need to say, and it just comes off as so grotesque. It's pretty much a giant advertisement for Ubisoft NFTs is what it is. So in summary, I think this is a huge joke of an interview. I really can't even believe they allowed them to publish this or put this out there in the first place. It is horribly embarrassing. They clearly have no understanding what their actual players want, or if they do, they don't care. And I think they're just so caught up in the idea of making their own blockchain, making their own cryptocurrency, making their own NFT system, and hopping on this bandwagon that they literally will do just about anything to convince you that it's a good thing and that you should buy into it and that you should like what they're doing. Even if it means the further destruction of our planet and the further hatred of Ubisoft. Anyway, that's about all the embarrassing Ubisoft news I got to talk about today. That was the whole interview on Ubisoft Quartz that they did recently over on Seeker. Definitely let me know what you guys think down below. That was an absolutely hilarious interview. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about that. Anyway, I'm Brandon. This is Game Corner, and have a kick-ass week.